For the second sample problem, we'll be focusing on the roofing materials. So we're going to be looking at the metal drip edge around the perimeter. We're looking at the roof felt or underlayment that goes underneath the shingles, and then figuring out the shingles themselves in our calculations. So starting off with number 11, we are looking at our drip edge. This is simply based on the perimeter of our roof. And then we need to divide it by the length per piece. It could be given to you in the specs or whatever you purchase. Here we're told that drip edge material comes in increments of 10 feet. So if we have the perimeter we calculated for our roof in the first problem set, the 139.2456 feet, we divide it by 10 feet per piece, and we get 13.92456. It's a counted item, so we round up, and we need 14 pieces of drip edge in order to go around our entire perimeter. Next up, we are looking at the roof felt or the underlayment. So here we have our second bullet point. It says 16 pounds. That's not 15 hashtag. Pound is actually a weight. So we have 15 pounds of felt. The rolls themselves are 240 square feet a roll. They are 3 feet wide, and we require 6 inches of overlap. So we went over the discussion of overlap with our roof felt in the lecture. Essentially what it means is that even though we have 240 square feet in each roll, it won't actually cover 240 square foot of roof, because we have to overlap as we lay it out to ensure we're having the proper moisture and water barrier for our roof system. So first off, we need to calculate the square foot of roll coverage for one roll of felt. So that 240 square feet, what does it actually cover? In order to do this, we need to figure out the length of our roll. We have 240 square feet per roll. It is 3 feet wide. So we know we have 80 lineal feet per roll of roof felt. Our width coverage is our width of our roof felt minus our overlap. So 6 inches of overlap is required. Means we have 2 foot 6 inches or 2.5 feet for our width coverage. Our width is 3 feet, our width coverage is 2 foot 6 inches. If we take that 2.5 feet times the 80 lineal foot per roll that we have in each roll, we can see that we will actually cover 200 square feet of roof for every 240 square foot roll that we purchase it. So now when we're trying to figure out how many rolls we need, if we would take the 1201.6664 square foot that we calculated for our roof square foot in the first problem set, if we divided by the 240 square foot per roll that is in each roll of our felt, we would actually come up with a number that is incorrect. Again, 240 square feet will not actually be covered on a roof simply because it is the full roll because of this overlap. So instead, we have to take the 1201.6664 and divide it by the 200 square feet of roof coverage that we just determined per roll, and we get 6.01 And even though it is a very, very small number, usually we would add waste anyway, but we want to get in the practice of rounding up. And we know that we need 7 rolls of roof felt to cover our roof. We'd go ahead and purchase them. If we happen to get away with just the 6, then we can return the other one. But we don't want to end up with a short material when we're on our job site trying to install. The last portion that we are going to be working on is our shingles. So we want to calculate the square of shingles, and we have 3 tab shingles being used, and they are 15 inches wide by 36 inches in length, and we have 4-inch exposure on our shingles. So that is what is provided by the manual specifications, manufacturer's specifications. So in our problem 14, we need to calculate the square of shingles, and we need to look at 3 areas. We need to look at the main roof area. We need to look at our starter strip, and we need to look at the ridge. Because we have a gable roof in this situation, it actually makes things a little bit easier. For our starter strip, we know that the starter will only be at the eaves for our roof. For the ridge, we know that it will run the full length of our roof. So this can help with some of our calculations. As we discussed, there's 100 square feet per square of shingles. So if we want to calculate our main area, we can simply take the entire square footage of our roof, divide it by 100 square feet per square, and we can end up with 12.0164, or roughly 12.02 square of shingles for our main area. Our next area is our starter strip. So again, this is at our eaves. Our eaves are at the bottom of our roof. It is based off the 38-foot length of our roof. We multiply that by 2 because we have to account for both sides. On our eaves, what we are talking about is on our structure on our roof, this is the eave, the horizontal dimension. So we have to have a starter strip on this side as well as on the back side to be able to calculate our starter strip. We have 2 rows that are 38 feet in length. It gives us 76 total lineal feet. And as we discussed, if we do not have a pre-manufactured starter strip, we can create one by cutting off the tabs of the shingles. And this is where it can get a little confusing. If we have a shingle, a 3-tab shingle, if we cut off the 3 tabs, it would make sense that we'd multiply our 76 feet by what is left over. But this is not the case. All of the manufacturer specifications are based upon the exposure. It is based on what is seen. So even though we aren't using that portion, what the non-seen portion will cover is factored in by the portion that is seen if it was there. So it is a difficult concept to grasp, but once you have it, you will know that you will always base it off of the exposure, which our specs said was 4 inches. So if we multiply by our 4 inches of exposure, we get 25.33 square feet. And we can convert it to squares by dividing by 100 square feet per square and get roughly 0.25 square for our starter strip. Lastly, for our ridge, we take our length of our roof as we previously determined and we multiply it by the width of 1 tab. So we have our full length as we determined by our specs. That was 36 inches. We have a 3-tab shingle. So we know 1 tab is going to be 12 inches in width. So if our tabs are cut off and they're run the length of the ridge, this is why we need to know the 12-inch length or width, sorry, by the full 38 feet of our ridge. So 38 feet times 12 inches, the width of 1 tab, 38 square feet divided by 100 square foot per square, 0.38 square. So if we go through and we look at the main area, our starter, and our ridge, we can have 12.02 plus 0.25 plus 0.38 for a total of 12.64 square of shingles. 3 bundles per square, so we can figure out how many bundles we need to purchase as well if needed at this point. But going back again, it does get very confusing, so refer back to the calculations as well as the PowerPoint. It gives better diagrams that show where these numbers are. But just remember, similar to the roof felt coverage, even though we have a 36 by 15 inch, so roughly just over 3 square feet of shingle, it does not actually cover 3 square feet of roof because of the overlap of the next shingle above it. Our next shingle would come in and cover that portion. So we have another 3-tab shingle. So everything is based off of that exposure number, regardless if that's the portion of the shingle that's used or not. So that concludes the roofing materials sample problem.